Well, welcome to Life at the Lodge. Not welcome back, but welcome to. And the reason for that is this is episode one of what I hope to be is an ongoing series chronicling our life as we live and work and play at what's also known as Fox Harbor Wilderness Lodge. The lodge, as it sits today, main function, I guess from a financial point of view, would be as an Airbnb. We've been doing that for going on 8-9 years, and we'll continue to do it in the future. It also operated as a hunting lodge. Its main purpose actually was to be a hunting lodge, and for about 15 years we've hosted many guests from all over the world, from Germany, Slovakia, Russia, North America, Mexico, into the lodge for hunting adventures. And it's also just my personal place that I love to go and spend an awful lot of time at. So what we're going to do here is just take a quick walk around, introduce everybody to the buildings, the structures, have a quick look at the inside of it, and then we'll move on to a couple other buildings that aren't on this property but are very much a part of the lodge. So let's go have a look. So as you can see, there are 3 buildings on this section of the property. The property is approximately 60 acres of wooded land that we've carved out space for the cabins. There's another section, and we'll go to that other section a little later on, but this would be the main section, especially what we rent. The 3 buildings, obviously the main lodge being that particular building, what I refer to as the bunkhouse being the middle cabin, and then the smaller bunkhouse being the cabin to the furthest on the left. These are the cabins that we rent out. There are 2 other cabins on the property, but those are personal, and they do not get rented to anybody. All right, so as I said, this is the main lodge. It was the first cabin built and actually renovated. Sorry for the wind there. It's had 3 design changes. It started out as a tiny little 10 by 20 cabin, was then renovated to be 20 by 20, and then a major renovation happened about 15 years ago, where we actually lifted it, put a 4-foot frost wall underneath of it, made it 2 stories, and turned it into what you're seeing right now. One thing I will say right off the bat is that if you're not, how can I say this nicely? If you're an animal lover and you don't like seeing dead animals on the wall, this probably isn't going to be the place for you. Because as you can see, there are many mounted animals that adorn and decorate the lodge. Always please remember, it is a hunting lodge. That was its original purpose. And I am an outdoorsman and a hunter of 50 years, 45 years. So this is a accumulation of all my years of hunting and all of the animals that I harvested and have had mounted and put in my lodge. One thing I will say is that a lot of people, especially the Airbnb people that show up here, they get a kick out of it. I haven't had anyone offended to the point where they just couldn't be here. Now, when we advertise the lodge, we advertise it as a wilderness lodge. It's listed as Fox Harbor Wilderness Lodge, and there are many pictures of all of the interiors so that everyone understands before they get here just exactly what they can expect, so that there is no surprises. And most people, like I said, they get a kick out of it. I usually spend 10 to 15 minutes answering questions. The very first one is, did you get all of these? The answer to that is yes, I did. And they want to know a little bit about, okay, where'd you get the moose and how big it was, and some of the other mounts that are up on the wall. They're always interested in, the stories behind it. And I, have no problem spending, 15, 20 minutes just kind of going over it and letting everybody know what it's all about. So to date, it has not been a problem. We have not had anybody go running and screaming out of here because there's dead animals on the wall. Mostly because I believe they understand prior to getting here. And I think that to a lot of people, that it's whether they hunt or not, it's different. It's just not something that they're used to seeing in their daily lives, and they find it kind of neat. So it's worked out very well for us. So the animals stay on the wall. This cabin has 3 bedrooms. There's one upstairs, which is the loft. I'm not going to take you up there because I can't remember if I actually made the bed. That's where I sleep when I'm staying here. It has what I call the bunk room. Reason for that is pretty simple. There's a double bed and a bunk above it, so it's called the bunk room. Another bedroom back here, and then of course the washroom. So that is the majority of the main cabin. You come out, we have a propane fireplace, obviously kitchen table, and a full kitchen. The kitchen is being renovated. I have the countertops, the sinks, the taps, backsplash, and a bunch of stuff that I'm going to be doing there. That'll be an episode of the show coming up. It's a little dated right now. It's probably 20 years old. So we continually try to update the look of the cabin so that it's a little bit more modern, and that people feel that they're getting their money's worth when they rent it, because we're not cheap, but we do feel that we offer value for what people get when they come here. We take groups of 10, whether it's 5 couples or 10 individuals. The reason for that is there are 10 individual beds. We could sleep more based on double occupancy, but we don't. I find that 10 is enough. Any more than that becomes hard on the property, meaning that there are just a bunch of people running around and creating a mess, and messing up my yard and stuff like that. And I am very, very particular about my yard and my grass and all my other things. So I like to keep things quiet, and don't need tons and tons and tons of people here. So 10 is the max. We will take 11 or 12, but other than that, that's all we're going to do. So we'll go here on the deck. A couple years ago, I put this wraparound deck in just so that it would be easier for people to get in and out of the cabins without having to go across the yard. Right now, the yard is soaked. I've just tracked in a bunch of grass all over the place. But it just makes it easier for people to come in and out. And it makes for a really nice sitting place in the evening. I spend a lot of time out here. We do have a fire pit over there, but this is just a nice place for people to get. All right, so in the bunkhouse, and all you see is more dead animals all over the place. My moose, my caribou, pictures of customers that have been here adorn the walls. And these are all clients that have come here over the years. So I take pictures of them and some of the animals that they harvested, and I put them all over the wall. We have a bunch of caribou, a bunch of fish. I'm sure the sun is probably creating havoc with the video right now, but this is a full service cabin. We have a full kitchen, fridge, stove, running water, obviously. It's not a propane stove, but we do have a little electric stove for ambiance. Full bathroom, and then there are 2 bedrooms, but 4 beds. So I'll just come here quickly. A king and a single, and then upstairs is a double and another single. So This cabin generally will sleep 4 or 5 people, maybe 6 if we were to really stash it in. But like I said, I don't like to take more than 10 people, 10 beds, 10 people. I find that works really, really well. So, and then last but not least is the little bunkhouse. Little bunkhouse 3 years ago was my shed. Um, but because of the demand on Airbnb, I renovated it and turned it into what is actually one of the coolest cabins that we have. Uh, One that I particularly really like, just because of the look of it. So when you come in, it's small. It's got 2 bedrooms. So we have a double bed on the bottom, and then upstairs is a loft with another double bed upstairs that can take some overflow. But it has pretty much everything you need. The only thing it doesn't have is a shower. Should turn the light on. Because there just wasn't room to put it in. But we have a full bathroom and sink and vanity and everything, anything anybody could want. A couple little tables, chairs, television, more dead animals on the wall to keep the theme, and then more pictures up there of hunts that I've gone on and other hunts that I've guided other men for. So just a cool little cabin. Last year we installed this electric heater. Works great in this small little cabin, but something that was needed, not during the summer months, but if we do rent in the winter, it was something that we did need. So again, just a cool little cabin to spend time in, and I get a lot of compliments on this. Not because it's the greatest, biggest, baddest one in there. It's just a cute little cabin that people like to spend time, and they find it um, cozy, I guess, more so than anything else. So that is the cabins. There are 2 more. They're not on this property. We're going to have to go for a ride to see those. But as soon as I get things geared up on the side by side, I will take you with me and we'll go for a ride and have a look at those. All right, so what we have here is what I call Sophie's cabin. Um, the reason I call it Sophie's cabin is that it's been renamed after my granddaughter, my first granddaughter, Sophie. Um, when she was born, I'm just showing you, and over here you can actually see that there's a sign right there that says Sophie's cabin. When she was born, Carolyn and I made the decision that we would leave this particular cabin to our grandchildren. At the time we only had Sophie. Right now we have another one due to arrive here in December, little Lucas. And what I've decided to do is that this particular cabin and the property will be left to my grandchildren. Um, the other property, the lodge and all of that, well, of course, that goes to my daughter. She gets to do whatever she wants to do with that when we're all dead and gone. But I wanted to have something specific for my grandchildren that I made, that I built, that will give me just a little bit of a legacy. So this is something that I felt strongly about, and Sophie very quickly became the new love of my life. I will insert a picture here of her, and while I'm sure I will love my grandson just as much, uh, you know, she was firstborn, so she gets to get the name Sophie's Cabin. Maybe we'll have to change it to Sophie and Lucas's cabin, but for now it's Sophie's Cabin. So says it on the sign, and it will be left to them. So the cabin is a work in progress. As you can see, it is not finished. I've had to order special windows for the windows up top, and had to stop with the siding and the soffit and all that stuff until I get them in. Once I get them in here in the next little while, I will put those in and continue on. It started out as basically just a small little cabin that I wanted to have so that when we had people at the main lodge with the Airbnb, I had a place to stay rather than staying at what you're going to see soon is my woods cabin. I wanted something so that both Carolyn and I would be comfortable, and I built this. Now, like everything that I do, things seem to take on a life of their own, and it all of a sudden went from a small little, what was it, 16 by 20 cabin to now 16 by 30, I believe 32, with an extension off the side. I added the decking. I added a little barbecue outdoor kitchen area. That room right there is a storage area so that I could keep, I'm sure the sun is causing all kinds of trouble, so that I can keep tools and just miscellaneous stuff here without having to take it back and forth to the other lodge. Of course, we have our fire pit, our solo stove fire pit, which we do like. They do work very well. And the last thing that I put in, you can see it down there, is the well. This cabin will be completely self-sustained. It is completely off-grid. And rather than just collecting rainwater, which is what I've been doing for the first little while, I wanted to have a permanent source of good water, and that's what the well is all about. And I will be very shortly connecting that and having it run. So let's go ahead and have a look. As I said, the cabin is not finished yet. There are some things, trim work and pine and stuff that has to be done, but it is habitable. I have spent many, many, many nights here, and I actually very much enjoy spending here. I like, mostly, I like the fireplace. I like cutting wood. I like a fireplace. So when I put the cabin together, I made sure that we had a nice wood stove, and it works extremely well. It's actually a little oversized for this cabin, but it does work well. It has a couple rooms. Obviously, the main room we're in. This room right here is the newest extension. So what used to be the original cabin, when you come in here, there was a little half wall. You can see that pillar right there, what used to be a pillar. There was a little half wall that separated the living room from what was the bedroom. That where that chair is right now used to be where the bed was located. And it was just a nice, cozy little cabin. But as we started staying here more and doing more, I decided, as I always seem to do, to make it bigger. And that's when I put the extension off the side, and then created what is now going to be our bedroom. It is not finished, obviously. I just finished the flooring this week, as a matter of fact, and we'll then start on the pine here in the next little while. I did paint the chipboard only because I had the paint. It didn't cost me anything, just a couple hours worth of work. So I painted it just to make it look neat and tidy, but it will all be done in pine just like the rest of the cabin. Over here is the washroom. The washroom is not finished from a plumbing point of view. So it will be a full washroom with a toilet, a sink, a shower. And I have to look at different ways of bringing in water. Now, if somebody has a suggestion, I have I think 2 or 3 different ideas on how I want to bring the water in from the well. One is obviously just a pump and have it run off the generator. 2 would be a solar powered pump that would run and give us water. Excuse me. But I'm leaning more towards putting a water tank out back, a 500-gallon tank that will hold water so that I don't have to be running a pump. I'll put it up on stilts, 6-7 feet in the air. There'll be enough pressure for the water to run the toilet, run the sinks, without having to turn on a generator. But if you have run water to a cabin, if you have suggestions or comments, please comment below. I'm open to any and all suggestions on how I can efficiently and easily get water into this little cabin without having to run a generator 24 hours a day when we're here. That's the idea of a 500-gallon tank, so that water just flows freely with a little bit of pressure. It won't be 40 pounds of pressure, but there should be enough pressure to run the toilet and bring water to the kitchen sink. But if you have an idea, please comment below. Now, out back here, and this was another addition, I wanted to have my storage for wood indoors. I didn't want to have to go outside in the middle of the winter and bring in wood that was cold, frozen. We get a lot of snow here. So I put a porch off the back. And in addition to the porch, in behind my saloon door here, is a indoor-outdoor outhouse. Now, Nova Scotia has 4 very distinct seasons. You cannot run water in the wintertime, so you need a outhouse. Didn't want to have to go outside, put on boots and coats and everything else, so I built what I call my indoor-outdoor outhouse. It's very well ventilated. There is no smell to it, and it works great in the wintertime. You do not have to put boots on, coats, and everything else to go outside. So some people have laughed at it, but frankly, I love it. The cabin is run a couple different ways. So right now it is run off of our Anchor solar power generator. This is powered up by the solar panels that are outside. And generally we'll run this cabin 24 hours a day. On a full charge, it'll give me 2 full days of runtime without having to run a generator. If I need a generator, I do have a generator there, and the cabin is completely wired up for it. So when there's no sun or when the Anchor is out of power, I just hook up the generator. What I'll do is charge the Anchor. It takes about an hour, and then run for 24 hours. So basically 1 hour of generator running will give me 24 hours or 48 hours of runtime on the Anchor. So it works extremely well, and I'm very happy with it. Have our full kitchen, sink. Again, the water's not hooked up, but we're getting there. And that is Sophie's cabin, which is a cool little cabin that I actually really, really like and enjoy spending time here. So I just take a quick walk out back. You can see I have wood stored over there that needs to be picked up and put away. Some more there drying that needs to be cut up. And then out back are my 2 pieces of equipment. I have a Kubota B Series 2601 tractor with a bunch of attachments to it that we would use to plow snow, move rock. Pretty much just a utility tractor that allows us to do a lot of things, and I couldn't imagine being without it. However, my real pride and joy is this. So I bought this KX 030 Kubota mini excavator, and it is phenomenal. I mean, this thing has allowed me to do pretty much everything that you see, because this entire piece of property was woods. There were no trails, there were no open areas. It was all wood, and it was the excavator that allowed me to clear the land, stump, remove all the debris, and create an open area. As a matter of fact, we did the same thing over at the other cabin. So this thing is just a phenomenal tool that I can't imagine being without. It's something that I've used years ago in our contracting business, but when I started working on all these other projects, decided that it was something that I wanted to do and wanted to have. So there sits my Kubota excavator. The big thing that we're using the excavator right now for is clearing all of this garbage. So about 2 years ago, we had a hurricane come through here, and it laid down 30 to 40% of all the trees on my property. You can just see how they're all laid down. The winds came out of the north, going south, and just decimated the woods. This trail that I have here now wasn't accessible for about a year because there was nothing but trees and stumps and everything else on top of it. And but for that excavator, I would not have been able to clear this out. There was just too much, even with a tractor, it would just be too much to try to do it. And that's was the biggest advantage of having that excavator. So I continue to use it, very much like it, and can't imagine life without it. So that is Sophie's cabin. Still some work to do, but almost to the point of being finished. And like I said, very much enjoy it. Now we'll go over to the last but not least cabin, and I'm sure you'll be somewhat surprised. All right. I'm sure there's a bunch of people going to be looking at this saying, what in God's name is that? And what this is the first Sophie's cabin. This cabin was built about 8 years ago as a place for me to stay when we had guests staying at the main lodge. It's just a cabin in the woods. There is nothing around here, just woods and trees and shrubs and deer, bear, everything that you can imagine. And then this thing stuck right in the middle of it. I've spent more nights than I can remember here and loved every minute of it. So I understand it looks like a piece of crap, but don't need the criticism. I like it. It was something meant for me. Carolyn does not stay here. She has stayed here once, but this is not a place for women. It's just a cabin in the woods. And my plan now is to completely renovate it. It took a beating in the hurricane. The roof got all ripped up. A lot of trees were down, so I've had to do some clearing. So I'm in the process of slowly just putting it back to its original look. Inside, it was all completely finished. We had a set of bunks, or I had a set of bunks over there, a nice table underneath that cabinet. We have our wood stove over here. I always had a window, and now I have my chair, my hunting chair that I use when I'm hunting out of here, because I've turned it from a place to stay to now a hunting hut that I literally will just come down in here, look out the window. I even have the window set up on a pulley system so that I can sit in my nice chair, pull up the window, and if something comes out, bada boom, bada bing, Steve's got his animal. I guess I'm getting old. My days of roughing it aren't as much as they used to be, but it's just a cool place. I did not want to see it go to waste, so I'm going to spend some time and effort just kind of putting it back together and making it into the little place that it was, just a cabin in the woods, place for me to go hunting, get out of the weather, and you know, not see it just disintegrate into the ground. So that is it for the cabins. We do have one other location. I'm not there, so I can't show it. But we have a place in Florida that we spend the winters at. I will be doing a lot of filming out of there. We actually have an episode coming up where a good friend of mine and I go alligator hunting and get a lot of really cool footage and some fun films. So you will see some Florida stuff coming up, but the majority of this channel will be dedicated to renovating, fixing, taking care of, playing, and what it takes to run and take care of all of these things. So stay tuned. All right, well, that's going to conclude the first look, episode 1 of Life at the Lodge. I hope everybody enjoyed it. I hope it wasn't too long and boring. I do want to say one thing, though, before I end the video, and that is this is not a how-to-do video series. This is a series of things that we do that other people may or may not have interest in. But I do not want anyone to think that I am an expert in anything. I am the epitome of the old saying, jack of all trades, master of none. Maybe except hunting. When it comes to hunting, I've been doing that a long time and think I can hold my own with anybody. But when it comes to plumbing, excavating, carpentry, electrical, any of those things, I'm a guy that just likes to do it. I like to try. And if I don't know, I will look it up, especially on YouTube. So please don't take this video as me trying to give advice or tell anyone what or how they should do anything. That is not the case. It's just a video series of the things that we do, the way I do them, right or wrong, and a lot of it's probably wrong. But so far to date, any building that I ever build is still standing. Every electrical switch I ever installed has not caught fire and burned something down. And any bit of plumbing I've done has not created a flood. So far so good. Hopefully that will remain the case. But I just wanted to make that point that we're not here to tell you how to do something. If you like what we do, great. If you don't, that's perfectly fine as well. The other thing that every YouTube marketing guru will tell you is that when you do YouTube, you have to ask people to like, share, and subscribe to the video. So I'm going to ask you to like, share, and subscribe to the video. However, if you do not want to, if you're not interested in notifications and all that other stuff, that is perfectly fine as well. If you just want to watch the videos, enjoy what we do, maybe get a kick out of it, I'm happy as a pig and you know what for you to do that as well. So with that, I'm going to conclude the video and go back to work.